And I'm going to specifically talk about how to protect trees that are on private land, not council land. Next slide, please. First thing you need to do once you've identified your trees is to find out if they're actually already protected. For example, they might be in a conservation zone. So approach your local council's environmental manager to find out. If they're not protected, then ask them to arrange an inspection by a council tree officer. Next slide, please. At that tree inspection, the officer will come out and they will assess each tree against various criteria, which you can see listed there. There's many more, but one of the key ones is, are the trees in good health? Next slide, please. And basically, the officer is going to award a certain amount of points against each of the different criteria to each tree. And the final score is going to determine whether or not that tree is eligible for protection individually. Next slide, please. Once the tree officer has done their inspection, they're going to go away, write a report, and for any trees that are eligible for protection, they're going to prepare an application for either an individual or a group tree preservation order, and that will be for any trees basic scoring enough to qualify. That application is going to be put out for consultation by the council for a couple of months, and it will be sent to the landowner who can object to the order or the potential order. But hopefully you'll have been busy rallying support amongst your local community. I've given a few ideas there. So at this point, you get everyone to write to the council saying we want these trees protected. Next slide, please. And at the end of the consultation period, the application will be submitted to the council's planning committee, usually for recommendation, and a final decision might be made by the head of planning. Certainly that's the case in my borough, but details of the process vary between councils, so always stay in touch with the council's environmental manager so you know what's going to happen and when. Next slide, please. If you're successful, the council will issue a tree preservation order, and that will protect the trees in perpetuity. It doesn't need to be regularly renewed, and it means the trees can't be chopped down or damaged, and they can only be maintained with permission of the council. Next slide, please. If there's an emergency, you learn trees are about to be chopped down, which happened to me, then basically you need to do all the same stuff as I've talked about in double quick time, but try to get an urgent tree inspection and ask the council to issue a temporary or emergency TPO, which does have to later be confirmed by the council. Otherwise it lapses and your trees won't be protected. Next slide, please. But the effort's worth it. Myself and my local community, we worked together and we got a group TPO issued for 6 gorgeous mature lime trees in our street. And you can see one of them there. Next slide, please. And there's a couple more of them being enjoyed by some local residents. And we're living really happily with our trees that we all very much enjoy. Last slide, please. So thanks for your time this evening. Good luck to any of you who do want to protect any of your local trees. There's a link there to some further government information, and also I've put up my contact details. Thanks a lot. Good night.